Five Nights at Freddy's. The idea Scott Cawthon got after making a Christian video game with anthropomorphic characters that people told him were unsettling. This turned into a hit franchise of horror games surrounding these Chuck E. Cheese-looking mascots that spawned a series of merchandise, books, an ambitious video game overlooked by Cawthon himself, and the dream many creators have brought into reality, a movie debut of their works on the big screen. I personally have never consumed any of the material other than the movie, so you may ask, then Mr. J, how did you catch an opportunity to watch FNAF in theaters? Oh, that's simple. Norval Rogers, Scooby-Doo, and Bridget from Guilty Gear asked me if I wanted to see the movie with them, and that's how I got roped into this. Heads up, I won't spoil anything major for the simple reason that this is not an in-depth look, but a quick skimming of the material. The movie itself was okay. To get the broken record out of the way, the movie is FNAF fan paradise, but if you're the average moviegoer or level-headed film connoisseur, it has some rough spots. Game-wise context, 5 children are lured into Fazbear's Pizza in the 1980s and check out of life. The killer is never found, and the spirits of the deceased children haunt the place every night. That's the heavily abridged version, I know. Movie-wise, it's about Mike Schmidt, a guy who can't hold down a stable job while taking care of his sister Abby, and ultimately lands at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. And of course, he has to survive 5 Nights at Freddy's.
Boo! You suck!
Okay, yeah, bad joke. I'll see myself out now. Aside from the rest of the film, these are the key points that occur. Mike's trying to keep Abby away from their Aunt Jane, who's only trying to win custody for the monthly support payments. Mike utilizes dream theory to obviously look into his dreams to find his younger brother's kidnapper. And Mike meets Vanessa, a police officer with history at Freddy's, and learns about Fazbear's history. However, regardless of how simple the movie is, I still have problems with Five Nights at Freddy's. Starting with writing, it felt inconsistent. The movie would either speed up during points of conflict or slow down when nothing was going on. In my opinion, FNAF is trying to be a psychological horror movie. So, from my limited experience, action scenes should build tension slowly, and the brief moments of downtime should be where the pieces come together. It also felt like you could have used the time during the opening to establish the conflict alongside the first security guard's death, as well as cut out or tighten up a good number of the scenes. I get that there needs to be a level of establishment, but when there's dialogue and interactions that contribute nothing to how this affects Mike and Abby, it's pointless filler. And the tone was all over the place. It was either trying to be scary and psychological, fun and goofy, or tense and nerve-wracking. I don't mind a mix of all parties, but it felt disjointed enough that while it didn't completely ruin my immersion, the lack of a strong tone left a weak impression on me. Next up, the acting was a mixed bag. I've only seen like 6 movies that Josh Hutcherson was in, and he was okay. Though I felt in times of pure emotion in FNAF he was straining himself, but other than that, he did a good job as Mike. However, you can't surpass the presence that is Matthew Lillard. I've only known him as the live-action movies and current voice actor for Shaggy Rogers, but his film record is impressive too. Lillard plays both a down-to-earth guy and an exaggerated character well enough to make me enjoy the parts he's in. Don't know what else to say here, other than everyone else was okay. Finally, the horror was poorly timed or in the wrong place. The horror fell flat because the tension never felt like it had time to wind up, so once it took off, it was either ineffective or comical. The animatronics are unnerving on their own, but when the scenes they're in feel half-assed, it comes off as silly. If you added a scene where Mike asks why they smell horrible, or Abby hugging them and there's a crunching sound, it would have had more impact. Either whole-ass it or don't ass it. no in between. You look stupid, not fully committing to the fear. The comedy was good. The few jokes in FNAF got a chuckle out of me, but that's it. The moments I wasn't supposed to laugh failed. I want to see fear, not the main characters building a fort with possessed children's animatronics. And I get the scene with the vandals was meant to establish the danger, but their deaths, as well as their bodies, still being there later on, instead of disappearing, removes the ominous nature and comes off as comical. And I know some will laugh, but I thought MatPat's cameo came off as terrifying. I like having some setup because having Mr. Patrick come in and theorying all over the screen before leaving like a fart in the wind kind of rips your soul out of your body and jolts it back in without warning. But before moving on, I've never seen Corey Williams and his channel, but his cameo was genuinely funny. In conclusion, the FNAF movie wasn't terrible. It was mediocre, but it set up the premise of the games to a wider audience. You have to remember, not everyone knows or cares about Freddy Fazbear lore, so you have to set things up for the casual viewer. And since a sequel is in the air, I hope it surpasses the quality of the first. So whether you've seen it, don't care for it, or remain on the fence about it, either watch it or don't. I personally watched it because it was a fun time with my brother and his friends. And I'm excited for the sequel, because at least it won't be a by-the-books and self-overhyped Marvel movie. That's all I have to say, folks, so if there's anything else you wanted to hear, my bad. I am still working out my formulas, and this is a buffer video. The one I'm piecing together is on Jump Force, so expect it to be out by the 2nd of December. I'm Mr. J, and you're not getting the bite of 87, you're getting the hands of 87.